Hello, my name is Marcia Rodenberger, and I am a hospice chaplain for SNCC Medical Center Hospice located in Seymour, Indiana. And today I want to talk about spiritual wellness and caregivers. There is a definition, a broad definition for seeking spirituality, and it's someone or something outside of ourselves that gives us meaning to life. It is something that feeds our soul. And in this definition, it is not religiosity, it is not churchy stuff. It is that which is for ourselves. It's at its heart, it is a spiritual journey about nurturing and living in connection with the sacred, however you label that which is sacred. Spiritual life gives us meaning. And as we seek for meaning in our lives, it can be prompted by such questions as, is this all there is? Is this it? What does it all mean? And how do I fit into the picture? How can I leave a legacy for future generations? And when you start thinking about future generations, questions like, how can I give back to a world or a family that has nurtured me if I have had very positive experiences? And on the flip side, if I have not had good experiences, well, how can I get even with this family or this world that hasn't nurtured me? And then, of course, as we look at life meaning, sometimes we ask the question, what do I get from all this caregiving? Why am I doing it? In 2004, there were over 44 million people who were the age of 18 years or older who provided unpaid care to friends and relatives. And this caregiving, it can be very stressful. If you're looking at this DVD, you know that it's exhausting. And sometimes as a caregiver, you get into the habit of eating poorly. You fail to exercise because you're always wanting to be available to the person you're giving care. You postpone or you miss doctor's appointments. You become frustrated and you're wanting to give care. Sometimes depression comes because of the situation we find ourselves in. We get anxious. We sometimes, under our stress, cause physical death for the caregiver, or a psychological death. We get really, really sick mentally because of our situation. But there are coping mechanisms and adaptation things that we can do that will help us. And one of the things is continuity. Continuity of doing things that you have found out through the years that have been helpful. Knowing yourself, what has been good for you and what has helped you to make decisions in the past. We learn and lean toward activities that have been proven satisfactory and successful in the past and helping us to cope with the stresses in our life. All of this is very individual. I mean, you may go knit, you may go fishing, make quilts, make a prayer shawl in your church, praying, whatever it is. Some people clean house. Some people cook. Some people eat. It's highly individualized. But when you're thinking about coping with the stresses in life, one of the things you want to ask is what enables you to cope? What keeps you going? Many times we find it is our family and friends that are the best people to help us with the coping. They can come and be encouragements and support. They can help us with a positive attitude, which is also a very strong coping mechanism. Having a sense of humor, looking on the bright side of what's going on. Making jokes are not inappropriate. being determined and strong throughout the situation does help. And having a sense of self-confidence. I can do this. I want to do this. I love my husband so much that I will be here and I will do these things. Or I love my daddy so much that I'm going to make sure he stays at home, whatever the situation, knowing that you can do it. Coping can be found in our religion, and it can be found in the prayers, the rituals, the Bible studies. Those things tie in. Anything that is spiritual, that helps us stay in tune with that soul-feeding things. In our spiritual development, it becomes more and more important as we age. And I think that happens because during our aging, time becomes more panoramic. We see things in the long term and in the long run, and we kind of get a new perspective in how these things happen. And space becomes infinite because we realize, wow, I'm so many years old, and look at all these things that have happened, and we've probably moved and been in different places. When we develop spiritually, we begin to get more enjoyment in the inner life. And our inner life is very important to us as we get older, and it's a healthy type of spirituality. We call that an inner peace. An inner peace coming from having everything in proper perspective and being content with unanswered questions. I want to repeat that. Inner peace comes from everything being in proper perspective and also being content with having unanswered questions. We don't always get our questions answered. We don't always have an answer. And it's okay to say, I don't know. Especially when it comes to meaning in life. Sometimes we don't know.